Hello, dear soul. Welcome to this podcast episode where I want to share with you 3 stories that just came through my mind with regards to soul recognition. And I apologize if there are sounds around me. I'm outside, but it should be okay. All right. So the sea saying hello. Okay. All right. Now, why would you listen to my stories? Okay, weird sounds. Well, I mean, if you want to, you'll guide it to. These stories are gonna help you understand what some people call destiny, soul path works. How we have already planned out these sequences of events, and more or less in the same order or time frame, because stuff happens here on Earth. We're not like puppets. We have free will, right? But the soul pool is very, very strong, so you cannot miss your destiny. That's just what I'm gonna say. You cannot miss your destiny. Now, however it unfolds, that is really up to your free will. That is really up to your own commitment and willingness to listen to your intuition and take those jumps and take those leaps of faith. Now, some of you listening to this, at some point, whenever you happen to watch this, you may have found my channel through, again, maybe weird sequences of events, or maybe not. Maybe you just, I don't know, you're here. You just happen to be here. But it's never a coincidence. All right. So, the main reason why I want to share this is because as we are wrapping this big chapter of the old Earth, and just so many of us, our wave right now is really stepping into their true soul path, their true destiny, right? We have closed so many doors in the old Earth. There is almost this feeling right now of looking retrospectively to your, like, as I shared in my previous episode, it's almost like this morning I looked like I had a flashback of my whole entire life, and every single freaking bit of just every event made sense now. It didn't. It obviously did not at that time. Far from that, but right now it does. So the 3 main people that were just highly important, they're not the only ones, but it's just the ones that I feel guided to share today, are my first Syrian human here on Earth, Natalie. The second one will be my twin flame. And third one will be Laura, who you probably know as well, or you come from her channel. But we had an interview about New Earth communities. If you feel guided to watch, she was another soul. She's from my very close soul group, by the way, soul family, what we call. There is we have many what we call soulmates, right? People that we belong to the same soul group. Some soul groups can be larger. We belong to the same star families. But we don't necessarily have to have the same star origins, what we call, right? As you know, Laura is a Pleiadian. I resonate with so many other with so many other starseeds, not necessarily just Syrians, but, you know, obviously with the Syrians, it's just instantaneous. But not only, okay. But we all have, I believe it's about 12 souls that we call a soul family. And these are the souls, the closest to you. And they will have you will have the strongest connection with them, meaning you just cannot miss them in this lifetime. You have a very strong soul agreement with them to meet. And, okay, I'm going to start with Laura. I thought I was going to end with her, but so yeah, it was just very random. Again, I'm just saying random for the purpose of this conversation, but nothing is random. There is no such thing as coincidence, so we already know that. But I was just about to exit Instagram forever, and I don't know what made me click on her video. I don't know what called me to her, because I usually only follow maximum like 10 people. I'm very, very choosy when it comes to what I consume and what I don't scroll through. And again, I don't know what happened that day, but I was supposed to do that. And so I did. And so I followed her, and I kept following her, and I kept listening to her content. And one day I booked a session, and that's when everything was confirmed, because that particular day, the day when I was supposed to have the call with her, I was brought back to my childhood. And I remembered moments in my childhood when we used to telepathically talk. Weird. I mean, weird. Not for those of you listening, but if someone else listens, is like, what the hell is she talking about? And the whole day, I used to play these moments in my mind where I already knew her, right? I felt her energy speaking to me in my childhood. And so when we engaged in the call, she was, I already know you. And I was like, okay, I haven't said anything, but she confirmed to me I wasn't crazy. And yeah, I mean, if you already know her, again, we sometimes have the same, sometimes have the same expressions. Sometimes we pull the same cards sometimes. And you can feel that it's a very, very close soul connection. It just is. Not necessarily in the 3D, but in the 5D, it's absolutely a very, very strong bond. What I mean by 3D, it's, the 3D karmics, the 3D relationships are just about, physically, talking every day on the phone. And it's not about that. It's just the 5D is telepathic. You don't necessarily need to engage in the 3D to have a very strong soul bond with someone, which leads me to my twin flame, which it has been 99% telepathic. And for us, it has been, I felt his presence my whole entire life. Because every single time that I would just be in a relationship, I could never feel fulfilled. And even though there were really good relationships, I never had like abusive or disaster, horrible relationships, but it was just never enough. And with that comes a lot of 3D shaming, because you tell yourself there must be something wrong with me. Why can't I just freaking settle? With someone, but I've always had his energy just coming back to me. And the strongest time that this happened was when I just landed in Bali. I was in a relationship at that time, a very karmic relationship with someone I thought I was gonna just really settle, but no. Because there's no such thing as settling in the 5D. And the minute that I arrived there, something felt so off. For those of you who have been to Bali or are planning to go to Bali, I just need to give you a little bit of a warning. It's one of the places on Earth where you cannot, I repeat, you cannot override your soul's voice. Your soul, because it's placed on one of the strongest heart chakras on Earth, you will not be able to turn off the voice of truth. So be ready, okay? Because all the lies will pop up and you will not be able to close that door. So the truth will snap in your face and you will be... just don't be surprised if that happens. All right, moving on. When I arrived there, I just immediately felt his energy so strongly. And I didn't know who that was, obviously, which led me to so many shamans and so many, healers. And, I didn't really get an answer because we're not really supposed to know, unless we go through this journey of healing and truly understanding ourselves. No one has the answers for us. It was only when I got out of that relationship that I was confirmed by someone that this person's energy is really someone very significant to me. So anyway, but I felt his energy very, very strongly. And 3 months later, I was still in Bali, I was still in a relationship. 3 months later, we ended up in the same place. And here's the crazy story. Before jumping onto that program, for over 2 years, I used to just buy everything that was available online in terms of healing, in terms of how do you build an online business, all that kind of stuff. And my person at that time, I was on a cure, let's call it a cure, a detox of, spending this on these programs because they were just, a lot of them were very deceiving. And anyway. But just before signing up on this program, I kept hearing myself saying, I don't know what is about this particular one, but I have to be there. Well, people around me were telling me, yeah, sure, that's what you say about all of them. But for me, it felt different. It felt, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get there. And every single time I would engage with that particular group, there was something that just made me feel like home. I didn't know what that was. But I would keep coming back to it. Right. So that feeling of home was what led me to meeting him online. After that, we haven't engaged anything. We had our different worlds. I was, doing my own thing. He was doing his own thing. We didn't know about each other. But again, that feeling of home would keep coming back. And after looking, one day, I wanted to look him up to see what is this feeling. And I ended up finding his podcast. And through the harmonics of his voice, because the sound is frequency, the soul is frequency, is energy. This is why I record a lot of podcasts and you don't necessarily need to see my face, because sound, and especially for Syrians, sound is very, very important. The harmonics of my voice is an activator for a lot of you. For those of you that I already know from who knows how many lifetimes. So this is why the voice is a very huge confirmation that I know that person. I didn't even know how he looks like, but I knew. I just knew that this person, we share the same exact soul frequency. And by the way, for those of you who are not familiar, because not everyone here is a twin flame. This is not the channel just for twin flames. But just to explain a little bit the concept, okay, so the twin flame, there is so much nonsense out there because it's one, if not the most, the highest spiritual path that you can take in terms of ascension. You can take many ascension paths, but twin flame is one of the ascension paths that your soul has subscribed to, and the most badass souls out there have chosen this because it's also the toughest one, period. The souls that have chosen the twin flame journey are souls who chose to incarnate with their exact same soul frequency, which is a mirror to you, obviously in a different body, with different programming, with a different conditioning, with different organs, some, because, it's also same sex. It's about polarity. It's not about genders. It's about polarity. One of them embodies the feminine polarity of the soul, and the other one, the masculine polarity of the energetics. And, but the frequency of the soul essence, it's the same to a T. Now, as I was sharing with Laura, we have similar soul frequencies, but it's not the same. She's not my twin flame. But with our twin flames, twin souls, for those of you who know, you resonate with this term, or you don't, that's okay. But those of you who resonate with this term, it is the exact same freaking soul. Just the same soul rambling around this earth. It's just another you in another body. And it's a very complex spiritual concept because it's mainly for ascension purpose. A lot of people romanticize it, and I did that as well in the past, but it is, when you stop looking at this twin flame journey from a 3D perspective and you start looking at the 5D aspects of it, that's when you get it. That's when it starts to no longer be a torture, because you feel the separation, which is an illusion. There is no such thing as separation when you meet your mirror, because you're not separate from yourself. I hope this, if you get this just one concept with regards to the twin flame journey, is that there is no such thing as separation. Everything that is perceived as separation in the 3D, it's just an illusion to show you how far you have gone from yourself. And everything that is projected towards your twin comes back to you as something that you need to heal, period. Long story short, okay, that was the encounter with my twin soul. Now the last one that I want to share is Natalie. She's the first Syrian that I met. And this one in particular has a very long, time frame, from the moment that I first, the universe planted a seed until the moment I met her. That was probably 3 to 5 years in total. So I just want to share, not to bore you with the details, but to show you how much the universe works behind the scenes without us necessarily interfering. And this is why this episode is really, 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 really important for you to understand the logistics of the spirit realm, but also to know that if things are not happening in the 3D, it doesn't mean that they're not happening behind the scenes. You are always guided, always protected, and always, 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 always on your path. That being said, So Natalie, it was actually my aunt. I have a far relative, I don't know how to say that, but anyway, not really close bond physically, but anyway, we're connected somehow. She gave my number, which is very random because I would never do that kind of thing, to a random guy she met on a party, who said that, oh, she's very attractive, I want to talk to her. And first of all, that would never happen, but for some reason she did it. Okay, whatever. He got my Facebook. We never talked. I was not into this kind of things. And we just like had 2 conversations, probably, that was it. But then maybe a year later, he recontacted me. I don't know how. And I said, oh, I just moved in this place, which was south of France. And he said, oh, actually my ex lives there. Do you want to meet her? She's very kind. She's very nice, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, okay, a new person. I didn't really know anyone here. So I was just open to it. And that's how I met Rebecca. Rebecca, she was really into spirituality. I didn't know that the first time I met her, but something just kept me, she was really kind. She was really a very interesting person. So we kept meeting. Now, a year later, she was going to a spiritual retreat and she said, do you want to come with me? I was like, okay, I want to try, I guess. So I went there, and that's when I met David. David is one of the most incredible souls that I have and probably will ever meet on this earth. David, he's an actor. He's highly psychic, highly spiritual, highly just incredible, creative. I just love this man. And obviously it was easy to just be very drawn to him because he was just the center of attention, super funny. And I was very drawn to him, but on a soul level. It was very deep soul attraction. But I was like kind of intimidated by him because he was like, he was just a cool guy, and I was like, not cool. And I actually kept going to like 3 or more retreats, and every time he was there. But on the 3rd retreat, I don't know how it happened, but we got connected and we started becoming friends. And maybe a couple of years later, or a year later, I think a year later, I'm probably messing up all the timelines, but it doesn't matter. Everything happened in about like 3 to 5 years maximum. David introduced me to Natalie. Natalie, she's my Syrian healer. And that's when my first Syrian activation. That's when I had my first vision of, the New Earth vision. She told me about my book. She was the one who was, I don't know what's happening. I'm really strongly feeling the energy of a book, the energy of, anyway, she started really connecting me to my vision, because that's what we do. Okay, as starseed healers, when we encounter each other, we have this automatic DNA activation where we remind each other of our truth. Okay, and this is what we do. This is what we agreed to do coming down here. So the whole point of this conversation is to follow that intuition, saying, oh my gosh, this person, why am I feeling drawn to this person? Okay. In the beginning, it may feel like logically, it may feel, well, because he or she is attractive, or, oh, maybe because I'm just interested in what he says or she says, or, oh, maybe it's just because we have this common 3D thing. But no, it happens deeply on a soul level. And before we wrap this up, I want to just say that karmic relationships have also a kind of pull, but it's different. The soul connections are very different from karmic connections, because with karmic partners, yes, there are souls that you have met in the past, in previous lifetimes. That's what they are called, karmics. And then there are people that you still have some karmic depth to clear through with them from previous lifetimes, and that's why you meet. But it's very different, because you connect through wounds. Usually you connect through, you don't connect on a soul level. You connect through parts of yourself that are unhealed, and they're usually from other past lifetimes. Karmic connections feel difficult to escape. They feel almost addictive, because you are meant to stay in that particular contract, and that's why you go back and forth until the contract is ended, until you're fully healed, until you release from your energetic body the karma and the emotional imprinting that needed to be released through experiences, etc. Okay, some of you may have karmic partners with whom you were just supposed to have a child, and that was it. Or, like the case of my parents, for example. They were not meant to be together. But it's very important to discern, because sometimes we may, that's why a lot of people end up in karmic marriages, because it feels like a soul connection, but it's not. And the more you go, it is only until you meet your soul people, your soul tribe, your soul family, your soulmates, your twin flame, that you actually start to discern and really understand the difference, okay? Because at that time, you were only connecting to a version of you that was not in touch with their soul, or at least not at this level. And it's only when you grow, when you release the karma, and only when it was just destined for you to meet your soul tribe on your path, which for many of us it's right now in the age of Aquarius, because the old earth cycles were all about clearing karma, and now we are able to meet. This is why I want to really let this episode out there, because this time has come. This time where so many souls and soul family are going to come together and are just going to kick ass. And this will happen in your own timeline, okay? This will happen in your own sequence of events. But I just want to let you know how it was the plan all along. As I was sharing, for me, that happened like 2015 or something like that. The first time that actually the universe started really like engaging and, how do you call that? Just, starting the engine to pass along, pass the ball from one to another and to another until I was meeting the people that I was destined to meet. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but this episode, I really hope that it's just giving real life examples of how this whole thing works, because it's just, the new earth, we are not gonna, spirituality is like breathing. It's just something, it's just going to be in the air. But, in the 3D realm, it's still like out there. Or, oh my God, when we think about psychics, we think about the ball and the ghosts and spirits and horror movies. And that's conditioning as well. By the way, horror movies and ghosts and things like that, this is conditioning as well to make you not approach spirituality. Period. Okay. Right. So, with that, I will see. I hope this episode was helpful. I had a lot of fun recording it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, and bye for now.